Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today's list is for a particular kind of watch enthusiast, the one who has moved past the obvious choices, who knows the references, who understands what separates a watch that is merely expensive from a watch that is genuinely great. This is a list built on depth, on movements that changed the industry, on designs that took real creative courage, on maisons that have been perfecting their craft not for decades but for centuries. From the romantic elegance of a Swiss dress watch to the raw, polarizing charisma of an Italian tool watch, to the mechanical poetry of Germany's greatest manufacturer, these 10 references span the full emotional and technical range of serious watchmaking. No fillers, no compromises, just 10 watches that reward the attention of anyone willing to look closely. Let's get started. Number 10. Longines Master Collection. We open our list with the Longines Master Collection, and if you've been sleeping on Longines as a serious watchmaker, this reference is the one that will wake you up. Longines was founded in Saint-Imier, Switzerland in 1832, making it one of the oldest watch brands in continuous operation anywhere in the world, and the Master Collection is where that extraordinary heritage expresses itself most fully and most beautifully. The collection spans multiple complications: moon phase, annual calendar, GMT, chronograph, all housed in elegantly proportioned stainless steel cases with a dial finishing quality that consistently exceeds what its price would lead you to expect. The L897 in-house caliber is a genuine Longines manufacture movement, not a sourced solution, and it is decorated and regulated to a standard that speaks to a brand taking its own legacy seriously. Applied Roman numerals, leaf-shaped hands, and sapphire front and back create a package of completeness and refinement that makes the Master Collection one of the finest value propositions in Swiss dress watchmaking today. The Longines Master Collection retails from approximately $1,800 to $2,500 USD depending on configuration. Number 9. IWC Big Pilot. The IWC Big Pilot is an exercise in absolute conviction, a watch that commits so completely and so unashamedly to its design philosophy that it demands a response from everyone who encounters it. There is nothing subtle about the Big Pilot. The oversized case, historically rooted in the giant pilot's watches of the Second World War, designed for legibility in the cockpit with gloved hands, wears with a physical authority that announces itself the moment it arrives on the wrist. The onion crown, the cathedral hands, the bold Arabic numerals against a matte dial built purely for legibility under duress. Every element traces directly back to instruments that actually guided aircraft through combat conditions. IWC Schaffhausen has been producing pilot's watches since 1936, and that heritage runs through the Big Pilot's DNA with total authenticity. The current IW 501 houses the caliber 521 Lantine with a remarkable 7-day power reserve, 168 hours of autonomy that matches the watch's outsized personality. For those who prefer their watches to make a statement before a word is spoken, the Big Pilot makes that statement louder and more confidently than almost anything else. The IWC Big Pilot retails at approximately $14,500 USD. Number 8. Tudor Black Bay. The Tudor Black Bay belongs on every serious watch list for the same reason the best character actors belong in every great film. Not because it dominates the frame, but because it makes everything around it better and holds its own against company far more celebrated. Tudor earned genuine independence from its Rolex lineage years ago, and the Black Bay is the reference that sealed that argument definitively. The watch draws from Tudor's own rich diving heritage, references from the 1950s and 60s that were worn by military divers and commercial frogmen who needed a tool that would not fail them, and translates that history into a contemporary diver of extraordinary completeness. The domed crystal, the snowflake hands, the satin-finished bidirectional bezel, the warmth of the gilt detail variant. These are design decisions rooted in archive rather than invention, and they produce a watch with an authenticity that purely modern designs rarely achieve. The MT5400 series manufacture movement delivers 70 hours of power reserve and chronometer precision, made entirely in-house by Tudor. Whether on the steel bracelet, the fabric strap, or the leather option, the Black Bay is one of the most satisfying watches money can buy at any price. The Tudor Black Bay retails from approximately $3,175 USD. Number 7. Hamilton Khaki Field. The Hamilton Khaki Field is the purist's choice. The watch that strips everything back to what actually matters and delivers it with such honesty and confidence that any question of its worthiness simply dissolves. Hamilton's history of supplying field watches to the United States military gives the khaki field a legitimacy that cannot be purchased or invented. It had to be earned through decades of performing in conditions where failure was not an option. That heritage is visible in every design decision. The bold, unambiguous Arabic numerals, the matte dial that refuses to reflect light at inconvenient moments, the luminous hands and indices built for one purpose and one purpose only, reading the time instantly and accurately in any conditions. The H10 automatic movement inside delivers an extraordinary 80-hour power reserve, a practical specification that matters in the field as much as it matters in real life. The 38mm case size is a deliberate reference to authentic vintage field watch proportions, and it wears with a rightness that oversized modern watches cannot replicate. In a world of watches that aspire to be more than they are, the Hamilton Khaki Field is entirely and perfectly what it is. The Hamilton Khaki Field retails at approximately $495–545 USD. Number 6. Bulgari Octo Finissimo. The Bulgari Octo Finissimo is the watch that changed the conversation about what fine Italian jewelry houses are capable of when they pursue watchmaking with genuine seriousness, and the conversation has not been the same since. Bulgari has systematically broken world records for the thinnest watch complications on Earth, the thinnest tourbillon, the thinnest minute repeater, the thinnest perpetual calendar, and the thinnest automatic watch. Achievements that are not marketing exercises, but genuine engineering breakthroughs requiring years of intensive research and development. The Octo Finissimo automatic sits at a case thickness of just 5.50 mm, an almost incomprehensible thinness that must be experienced on the wrist to be believed. The octagonal case in sandblasted titanium carries a visual complexity of facets and surfaces that rewards extended examination, and the integrated bracelet articulates against the wrist with a fluid grace that speaks to exceptional engineering. The in-house BVL 138 caliber is itself only 2.223 mm thick, visible through the open dial architecture in a display of mechanical confidence. The Octo Finissimo is proof that Italian design ambition, applied to Swiss and Italian movement engineering, produces results that astonish the entire industry. The Bulgari Octo Finissimo retails at approximately $14,800 USD. Number 5. Panerai Luminor Marina. The Panerai Luminor Marina is one of the most polarizing watches on this list, and the polarization is part of what makes it great. You either understand the Panerai immediately and completely, or you look at its cushion case, its bridge-protected crown, and its spare, almost minimalist dial and struggle to see the appeal. For those who understand it, no explanation is necessary. For those who don't, explanation is impossible. Panerai's history is a matter of classified Italian naval intelligence. The brand supplied special diving instruments to the frogmen of the Italian Navy's Decima Flotilla MAS, the elite underwater combat unit, from the 1930s onward, and the watches they carried were purpose-engineered tools of genuine operational secrecy. When Panerai became commercially available in the 1990s, the watches arrived with a mythology already intact and fully formed. The Luminor Marina carries all of it. The cushion case in Panerai's proprietary Carbotech or polished steel, the crown-protecting device that is simultaneously sculptural and entirely functional, the dial so legible it barely requires reading. This is a watch built around a philosophy rather than a trend. The in-house P9210 movement delivers 72 hours of power reserve with a reliability and finish commensurate with its heritage. The Panerai Luminor Marina retails at approximately $8,100 USD. Number 4. Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso. The Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso is not merely a great watch. It is one of the greatest objects of the 20th century, full stop. When René Alfred Chauveau patented the reversible case design in 1931, the brief was practical. British Army officers in India needed a watch that could survive polo matches, and the solution was a case that swiveled on its carriage to present a protective steel back to the world while the match was in play. The genius of that solution, its mechanical elegance, its formal beauty, its emotional intelligence, has kept the Reverso in continuous production for over 90 years without requiring fundamental revision. The rectangular Art Deco case, the guilloche dial, the engraved caseback that in many references serves as a second privately personalized dial. These are design elements so resolved and so human in their appeal that time has simply had nothing to improve. The manufacturer Jaeger LeCoultre, headquartered in the Vallée de Joux since 1833, produces every component of the Reverso: movement, case, dial, hands, in-house, and the result is a complete object of rare integrity. The Reverso is the watch that architects, designers, and writers reach for. The watch for people who find beauty in problems elegantly solved. The Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso Classic retails from approximately $6,650 USD rise. Number 3. Zenith El Primero. The Zenith El Primero earns its place in horological history with a story of survival that borders on the miraculous, and the watch itself is worthy of the legend. In 1969, Zenith was preparing to launch the world's first automatic integrated chronograph movement when Swiss watch industry executives, convinced that quartz technology would make mechanical movements obsolete, ordered the manufacturer to destroy their tooling and drawings. Charles Vermo, Zenith's master watchmaker, defied the order. He hid the tools, calibers, and technical documentation behind a false wall in the attic of the local manufacturer. When the quartz crisis passed and the mechanical watch renaissance began, it was Vermo's act of preservation that allowed Zenith to restore El Primero production and supply movements to Rolex for the Daytona for over 2 decades. The caliber 3600 beats at 36,000 vibrations per hour, 5 Hz, giving the chronograph's seconds hand a smooth sweep that lower frequency calibers cannot replicate, and measuring elapsed time to 1/10 of a second. The El Primero is not merely a great chronograph, it is mechanical watchmaking's act of defiance against its own obsolescence. The Zenith El Primero retails from approximately $8,100 USD per. Number 2. Vacheron Constantin Overseas. The Vacheron Constantin Overseas is the watch that carries the most weight of any integrated bracelet sports watch in the world, and that weight comes from the name on the dial. Vacheron Constantin was founded in Geneva in 1755, making it the oldest watch manufacturer in continuous, uninterrupted production in the history of the industry. Not one of the oldest, the oldest. Every watch bearing that name inherits 270 years of accumulated craft, knowledge, and standard setting, and the Overseas carries that inheritance with a confidence that only genuine age and genuine mastery can produce. The case is beautifully proportioned. The Maltese cross motif embedded in the bezel design connecting the Overseas to the heraldic symbol that has been part of Vacheron's identity since 1880. The tricolor interchangeable strap system, metal bracelet, leather, and rubber, allows the Overseas to transition from boardroom to weekend to water with a versatility that practical collectors genuinely value. The in-house caliber 5100 with its peripheral rotor, visible through the sapphire case back in a movement of extraordinary finishing quality, delivers 60 hours of power reserve. The Overseas is proof that the greatest watchmaking names endure not through reputation alone but through continued excellence. The Vacheron Constantin Overseas retails at approximately $26,000–$30,000 USD. Number 1. A. Lange Söhne Saxonia. The A. Lange Söhne Saxonia. A watch that says everything worth saying about watchmaking without raising its voice once. The story of A. Lange Söhne begins in 1845 in Glashütte, Saxony, where Ferdinand Adolf Lange established the watchmaking tradition of a town that would become Germany's answer to the Swiss valet de jeu. The manufacture was nationalized and effectively silenced after the Second World War, and it took until 1990, following German reunification, for Walter Lange, Ferdinand's great-grandson, to re-establish the company and reintroduce German fine watchmaking to the world. On the 24th of October 1994, A. Lange Söhne presented 4 references simultaneously in Dresden. The watch world had been given no preview and held no expectations. The reaction was immediate and unanimous. Here was a watchmaker that had arrived not as a newcomer, but as a peer to the finest names in the industry, producing movements of a quality and decorative standard that left the most experienced collectors speechless. The Saxonia is the watch that expresses Lange's philosophy in its purest and most demanding form. There is nowhere to hide in a 2-hand time-only watch, no complication to draw the eye from the quality of the movement, no busy dial to distract from the precision of the finishing. The silver dial and the proportions of the case are resolved with the quiet authority of a manufacturer that has never needed to impress anyone with volume or complexity. Every Lange movement is finished twice, once to function, once to be seen. The 3/4 plate in German silver, the hand-engraved balance cock unique to every watch, the Glashütte ribbing, the polished bevels on every component. This is decoration as philosophical commitment, as the visible expression of a belief that what cannot be seen still matters, that the maker's relationship to their work is as important as the result.